Are you having trouble finding a set of used nightstands or end tables? Sometimes they can be hard to find, but I'm going to show you how to take two similar pieces and turn them into a coordinated pair. So stay tuned. I found this first piece a while back in a thrift store and have just been holding on to it until I could find a little partner to go with it. This one I just thought was so unique with the little bow details on the front, and this back piece with this weird heart design was already coming off, so that I knew that was super easy to remove. So when I'm looking for another piece to pair up with one that I've got, I like to look at this overall style, and then just the design of the legs or the whole piece itself, or in a case of nightstands I'm working on, they have similar drawers. But I came across this other little table and it had similar legs and also had the shelf on the bottom, so I thought these would be a great match. So I started with giving it a good clean. On these I used Heirloom Traditions paint brand wipes that they sell that are not only a cleaner but also it's a deglosser, and it also slightly etches the surface so that your paint will have something to stick to without having to prime it. So the second table on the top has a very thick veneer, and the first one is real wood. So I knew that in order to make them look the same, I was going to have to either do the paint and glaze combo to give it the faux wood look, or use a gel stain that just sits on top. So I tried sanding that veneer just to see if I could even get it to budge and potentially use a regular stain on it, but sander was basically doing nothing to it, and so I just decided to go ahead with the gel stain. For the bodies, I decided to paint because spindles are a pain. They would take forever to sand, and I absolutely hate sanding as it is, so I decided to go with paint instead, and I wanted to do a nice creamy taupe color. I started with this base coat of Heirloom Traditions in the color Putty, but then I was worried I wasn't going to have enough to get complete coverage on both of these tables. So I ended up going to Benjamin Moore Advance paint, which I had not used before, but I've been wanting to try a different brand, so that's what I'm going to use on these. If you want to see how to do the faux wood look, giving you that Pottery Barn kind of style, using paint and glaze, I will link one of my videos at the end of this one so you can check that out. And I also will put down in the description the links to all the materials that I use in case you're interested in those. Once that base coat was dry, then I loaded up my sprayer with the Benjamin Moore paint, which I did thin out a little bit with water, and then got 2 coats sprayed onto the tables. So I attempted to tape off this bow design to keep them the dark stain that was originally on here, but not sure how it worked, so let's see. Not perfect, but let's see how these other ones look. one's pretty good. I don't know, we'll put it to a Facebook vote and see what you guys say. Here is the first coat of gel stain going on the table with the real wood top, and I usually use a chip brush to apply it just because they're super cheap and I usually only get a couple of uses out of them and then I can just throw them away. But also it kind of helps give the grain line effect as well. So I put it on with the chip brush, and then I used this little handheld broom just to smooth it out and give it even more of that wood look. Stains of any kind typically take a little bit longer to dry than paint, and humidity will have a big effect on that as well. So I let these dry 24 hours and they were dry enough to go ahead and give it a light sand by hand just to smooth out any little bumps or dust or anything that may have landed on there, and then I gave them a second coat. I found these really interesting handles on Amazon. They are a combination of a hexagon shape and flowers, and then the little ring pull, which I just thought they were so cute. I didn't realize it was 4 different pieces until I got them, but it was a really bright shiny gold and it already looked like it had scratches all over it, so I did go ahead and spray paint these. New hardware just needs one hole, so I filled in the old ones and then tried to drill the other one, and this is what happens when you don't screw in your drill bit tight enough. I suppose if you didn't want all 4 pieces, or all 3 of the flowers at least, you could leave 1 or more of those off, but I liked the way they were, and I just loved the combo of these with the wallpaper, even though it is a little more muted in the colors than I originally thought it was when I bought it online, but it is still very pretty in person, so I'm happy with it. So one of you suggested when it comes to wallpapering the drawers to cut down closer to the size that you need first and then fully remove the backing, lay it over the top and then press it down. And I have to say that it was a little quicker to install this way, even though I still had to do a little bit of trimming. But I think if the drawers are large, I probably would still do it the other way, where I just peel back a little bit at a time, just because if you get it stuck to itself, 9 times out of 10 it's probably gonna rip. So I would say do it this way for small drawers, and the original way I was doing it for larger drawers. Most of you all said to keep the bow tie details, so I just took the gel stain that I used on the top just to touch up the edges of these inlays a little bit. I added a water-based poly top coat on the top of both tables, and then they were done. So here's a reminder of what they looked like before, and here is the after. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out some of my other videos for more tips and tricks.